Hello, everyone. Welcome to your live player ratings for Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. Arsenal did the business in a way. I know a lot of people are going to be very disappointed because maybe the performance wasn't as good as people have wanted it to be. And I can totally understand that because there were periods of that match where I personally thought our levels dropped well below the levels that we should have, if that makes sense. But we're top of the table and we deserve to be top of the table at Christmas. And I'll tell you why. This is why Arteta went out and got Declan Rice. This is why we put so much emphasis on our defensive solidity, because that's what kept us in this motherfucker. Okay? I'm sorry to cuss, but that's what kept us in it. Okay? I'll be so freaking for real. I don't think attack-wise we were anywhere near where we needed to be. We're obviously over the next couple of weeks, the January transfer window opens. We're going to have lots of conversations, I think, about what we need going forward. But let me tell you what, Gabriel, Saliba, and Declan Rice, when we do player ratings, do not give them low scores because they were fantastic. The amount of times that Saliba interceptions, Gabriel, they were so calm when so many other players were like me on the watch along. They were so confident and comfortable and looked like they belong there. And I don't want them getting low scores because they don't deserve low scores. Gabriel scored the goal. The one goal that we scored, he scored. Saliba was imperious. And Declan Rice, he saved us one time or two or three. So that triangle, that group, that foundation is the reason why we're going to if we're going to win the league, a lot of it is going to have to do with those three players, because you just don't go to Anfield and play below your level and get something without those three. There are enough poor performances. We'll talk about those, I'm sure, but before we get into the nitty gritty and before we get into the negativity, I really just have to say that personally for me, even through all of my nervousness, I don't think I said enough about how good Saliba and Gabriel and Rice were in that game. Away from home, no help, nobody else, everybody else, like I said, shaking like this, shaking like a leaf, and they didn't look like they were out of place at all. They were calm, cool, collected. Get the ball, pop it off. They were the ones that were moving the ball quickly. We're calm on the ball. We're making good decisions. They were doing all that shit. And so for me, before we get into what I know is, because I'm looking at the comments now, I'm seeing loads of comments come in. So go ahead, bring them in. But let's make sure that we at least mention how good those three have been for us, not only today, but throughout the season. Because without them, we would not be top at Christmas, because our attackers do not get the goals in the moments that matter. That's always going to be the conversation that we're going to have, because against Brighton and against Wolves and against Sheffield and against we'll score. But against the good teams, we've scored in, let's say, just our away games, away from home. We've scored 3 goals against the better sides. 3. We didn't score any against Newcastle. We didn't score any against Villa. We scored 2 against Chelsea at the end, and we scored 1 today. That's not enough. That is not enough. Liverpool are good. Trust. They're good. I respect them. But the amount of times that we got in and around the box and we just could not make the right decision was infuriating to me. It was like, I could have ended the stream so many times, you guys. If you guys were on the watch along, you guys know. I wanted to end the stream so many times. The amount of times that Martinelli made bad decisions made me want to just end the stream. I don't think Jesus had a shot on goal. That is unacceptable. That's unacceptable. I think Jesus overall had a decent game, but you have to have a shot on goal, surely. Saka did a good job holding the ball up for us, winning. People wanted Saka off. I was like, listen, he's a good outlet. He's winning the ball. He's keeping it. He's doing his job. He even created a chance at the end. No one was home. Jesus created a chance as well. Put it across the box. Where's Havertz? Where's Martinelli? Where is Odegaard? Where are you guys? Again, we're going to score at least 80-something goals this season. I know it. We're on track to scoring at least 80 something goals this season. But are we going to score goals when it matters in the big games? I don't think we are. There's enough of a sample size so far this season that I just don't think we have it. I don't think we have it. These players do not have to give us that extra 2 to 5% to. That game was there for the winning. I'll take the draw. Trust. I'm taking my draw. I'm running away because I can enjoy my Christmas knowing that we're top of the league and we did not lose. But it'll always stick in the back of my mind that if our attackers had that, what is it? What do we want to call it? That thing, that clinical, that hunger in those big games, that we would win more of them. Because we should have been beat Aston Villa. We should have given Newcastle a much harder time. And we should have done much better today as well. So on the ride home, back to London, everybody needs to, talk to Saliba and Gabriel and Declan Rice and thank them because they were fantastic in today's game. And really, without them, we wouldn't have done shit. Yeah. And yeah, we got away with some shit too. I mean, they should have scored, maybe once or twice, but they bottled it. It is what it is. But listen, without those three, we wouldn't have done anything today. And I don't think we'd be top of the league without them at all. Gabriel does not get anywhere near enough praise. Saliba was imperious today, but Gabriel was a monster. He really did as much as he could. He had to do Zinchenko's job as well, and that's not easy. Saliba did a really good job. Declan Rice stood up and was counted, So for me, I'll take the point. I think we play West Ham next. We win that game. We go into some favorable fixtures. But with the sample size that we have right now of Arsenal against the big teams, especially away from home, it's not good, bro. It's not good enough. Chelsea, the 2 goals, we didn't really create anything until backs were against the wall. Today, Newcastle, Villa, we have to do better. Much better. But let's see what you guys are saying. Because I'm just out here talking, I'm just saying whatever. Patrick says, Gabby covered a lot, but Raya needs to cover that corner. Ozuna says, just moves Zinni into midfield already. He can't defend. Aman says, Gabriel had to cover the left side on his own today. Ricardo says, it's credit to Liverpool that our attack wasn't potent. Yeah, no, it is a credit to Liverpool that our attack wasn't potent, but it's too much of a coincidence for it to have just been Liverpool or a good defensive side. I do think that you can look at the chance that Martinelli got. That's a wide open goal. That's not because of Liverpool. That's us. Martinelli has to put that chance in the back of the net. Then you had the one where Konate heads it into the sky, and Gabriel Jesus anticipates it, gets it, hits it across goal. Nobody's there. Saka also beats his man, puts it across the 6. Nobody's there. You can give Liverpool all the credit you want to, but there are moments in time where we just don't make the right decisions. So yeah, they're a difficult team to play against, so we're not going to get that many chances, but that's why the conversation is being had, because we still need to score goals in these games. We still need to put some chances away in these games. So just because Liverpool's defense is good doesn't mean that we could not have done better. We could have done much better. And if we can't, we need different attackers, because listen, we still have to go to the toilet bowl. We still got to go to Old Trafford, and we still got to go to the Etihad. And we cannot be blunt in those games. No, we're not going to get 6, 7, 8, 9 chances, but that's why we have to be more clinical. That's why our decision-making has to be better, because against these teams, you're only going to get a couple of chances. And I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated by what I saw, because I just feel like, yeah, we were there for the taking in some respect. I know Liverpool fans will probably be like, damn, we should have won that game. But I think they were there for the taking too. So yeah, it is, for me, it is what it is, Jacob, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, I see why Arteta bought Timber. It's clear he was meant to replace Zinchenko. I think he was going to be there for either one of those positions, left or right, but I agree with you. I think they tried to make sure that they had another good defensive option, and we haven't been able to use it. And unfortunately, Tomiyasu is not, he gets too many injuries. So yeah, I feel overall good, but feel a little bit worried about us creating the chances. I know that if we're going to play Zinchenko, that the likelihood of a goal coming off of that side is much greater than if we had somebody else. So I already kind of anticipated that happening. I already anticipated that happening. But I thought we would have maybe learned our lesson a little bit in the other box, and we didn't, but thank you so much for your super chat. Let's see. I'm going to the bottom. Big G, thank you so much for your super chat as well. There's almost 300 of you guys in here, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, okay? Because we're about to have a lot of fun. Listen, top of the table at Christmas. Obviously, we have some things we need to work on, but it may not look like it, but I'm happy. I'm happy, okay? So I'm starting to believe that Rice has the superpower where he can see into the future by 5 seconds while he is fire. No offense. He is underrated. I mean, listen, I really do think that like defensive performances are not ever really looked at in the same way as attacking ones. And we know why. We know why. It's just we love attackers and they're the ones that we feel like wins us the games. But if we do anything important this season, a lot of it is going to have to do with those three because they've done so well. And Declan Rice has been a revelation for us. I just don't think I don't think we get out of there with a draw without him. And, we're not going to get into the Thomas Partey conversation, but there's just something that Declan Rice has that our other DMs don't have when it comes to anticipating, knowing the right place to be, knowing how to stop fires before they happen. He's just so good in front of Saliba and Gabriel. And so, yeah, a fantastic performance from him once again. And again, I don't think we beat Manchester City. I don't think we go to the Anfield and win and get a draw. We definitely don't get a draw at Chelsea without him. So he's paying that 100 million back very quickly. And nobody talks about the price tag. So, and sometimes you're not going to play your best, but you still can't lose, and I think if you can't win, don't lose. And a lot of that has to do with Declan Rice. He's fantastic. He really is. Like, I really enjoyed their performance, even though I was frustrated with what was going on in attack, So yeah, C. Wilder says, Anfield has no effect on us today. We played confidently, just missed our chances again. Exactly. I think we were good. Like, I don't think that we were like massively outplayed. I think in the beginning of the second half, they were definitely on top, but we have to also remember where we were and who we're playing. And so this is where the comment where somebody, I forget who said it, but was like, our tech being blunt is a credit to Liverpool. I would agree with you a little bit on that because we already spoke about it, but like blowing that up just a little bit more, we're playing against one of the best sides in the league at their place, and they tend to win at home, right? And so from my perspective, I do anticipate them to have spells where they're on top. I think we were on top of them for the first 20 minutes of the first half, then they were on top of us for the last 20 minutes, from probably like the first, what am I saying? Am I doing the math right? Yeah, first 20 minutes, last 20 minutes. Then in the second half, it was more them for like maybe 30 minutes and us for 15 minutes, So they got the better of us in the beginning of the second half. We really needed those subs and we really needed to gain some control. But I think away from home at Anfield, you have to take it for what it is, and getting a draw is a good result. All things considered, Manchester, like Liverpool are a fantastic side. They really are. They scare the living shit out of you sometimes. And I'm really, I do respect them. I think we could have done better, but all in all, it was a good performance. It was a good performance in terms of not getting swept up in the environment. Last season, I thought we got swept away. It was the run in. We didn't have our best players. As soon as we conceded that first goal, that was it. It was just tick down time until we conceded that second one. You know what I mean? So I think we made a better account of ourselves this time by not getting into our box and battening down the hatches. But, what's going on in the opposition's box? We need to do better there, period. Moses, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well. I really appreciate that. For everybody that's celebrating all the holidays that you're celebrating, if you celebrate Christmas or not, you celebrate something else, happy holidays to you. Just a sidebar, like this has been one of the best years of my life. And a lot of that has to do with this channel. And you guys are freaking amazing. And so on to 2024, like literally it's going to be amazing. Like so much good stuff is going to happen. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the content. And I'm so happy to see new faces, old faces. And by faces, I mean names because I can't see y'all faces. But yeah, I love you guys so much. And I really hope that you guys have a good holidays and you guys are safe and well and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy with the result, with the way our offense performed. Everyone was in the middle, like we were all center midfielders. Shout out to our defense. Yeah, I think when you play against the better teams, a lot of your attackers have to be more like midfielders too anyway. Like they have to do the defensive side of the job. And I do think in particular, Gabriel, Jesus, and Saka did their job. You know, they won the ball back, they got fouls, got us up the pitch and stuff like that in difficult moments. So yeah, in games like this, I do anticipate our attackers having to do a more well-rounded job. And I think they did that. And yeah, shout out to our defense because listen, they did what they needed to do. They really did. Shout out Saliba, Gabriel, and Rice. I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough. But thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate that, Moses. That was very sweet. C. Walter says, I absolutely love that failed 5v1. I just knew they were going to score. But you know, you earn your luck. You know, you earn your luck. Sometimes you get lucky, and I think you earn that. And so hold that. You know, they'll be thinking about that for you guys were 5v1 and you didn't score. That's not on us. You know, like you didn't do it. T. Tem says we move on to West Ham. I agree. The Arsenal perspective says I've been impressed with Arsenal tonight for reasons. Perhaps others may not agree. This was a mature performance and it showed me that Arsenal controlled the whole emotion of the occasion. Yeah, I don't think there was any moment where I felt like we were rattled by Anfield or the magnitude of the game. I think it was a tug of war and both teams had moments. Both teams had times on top. Some, you know, we had some possession. They had possession. They were on top. You know what I mean? It was a game at a very high level, you know? And so a lot of the things that we were doing were canceling each other out. So it didn't end up having like a bunch of goals like maybe we thought. But there was never once a moment where I thought, oh my God, the Liverpool Anfield effect is getting to the best of us. I just think Liverpool had moments where they were really good and we had moments where we were really good too. So I am happy with the overall performance, like you are. So I agree. Let's see. Chola says, Zinni makes me nervous. Saliba, Rice, and Gabby, great game. Would have been happier if we were more clinical with our chances. Aman says, Rice, Aura made the Liverpool players shit themselves in the 5v1. Sib says, Martinelli just couldn't get going. I think Rice and Saliba were incredible. Honorable mention to Odegaard. Please give Gabriel some respect, though. I love what you just said. I think Rice and Saliba were incredible, but please don't keep Gabriel out of this conversation. He scored the goal, and he was just as good as Saliba and Declan Rice back there. He did a lot of things to keep Salah quiet. Salah was not, besides his goal, he really didn't have anything else that he really did, you know? So I think we have to also make sure that we include when he deserves it, include Gabriel in there, because I think we often miss him. It's always Rice or Saliba or, you know, Gabriel was also really good. And I personally, I thought Odegaard had a good game. I know people are going to be screaming at me. I thought he held his own. I don't think he had like a ghost game. I thought he won the ball back a lot. He got us on the attack. He did a lot of the things that people always are shitting on him for, which is not getting stuck in and not writing challenges. He had some moments and maybe he got away with the handball, but ultimately I thought he had a good game. And I think really when you have three or four opportunities, maybe he should have done better on his shot too. I will say that, but we had a couple of opportunities that we could have done better on. I think that's the story of the game, you know. Moses, thank you so much for your super chat as well. Or again, thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. I really appreciate it. You guys know I love my coffee. I love my hot chocolate. My friend actually told me about what was going on with Starbucks and why I should not be drinking Starbucks anymore. So I'm gonna hold my own there and try not to drink as much Starbucks. You guys love my cup? I love it. So maybe I'll go somewhere else, but I'll be using these $5, you know, for a little coffee here and there. So yeah. Let's see. Moses says, I would never trade Saliba and Gabriel for no other center backs. Kai, Rice, and Odegaard also played great defensively. Looking forward to January. Me too. And the thing is, you guys, is like, as much as we're frustrated with the attack, I know there's going to be tons of conversations about that. defensively, if you go there and you shit the bed, you're not going to get anything out of it. And so we have to give them some credit for the defensive work that they did against a very good attacking side in Liverpool. There's always things that we can improve upon, but we should give credit for the things that they did right, which was off the ball. I thought we were pretty damn good. Thank you so much for your super chat. I do really appreciate it. James USA says, apart from Zinchenko, our defense was good. Rice showing he's 100 million, and that's on period. Okay, nobody talks about the price tag anymore. Second Soj says the attack is low-key letting the defense down. We're going to need to buy there soon. I think we all know that. Only as the day says Martinelli is good, but he lacks IQ on the ball. The Arsenal perspective says of concern was the few times Saka was able to cross and the other forwards just didn't bust a gut to get further into the box. Period. Arsenal perspective. That's what was pissing me off so bad. When we were doing the watch along, there was twice. I've mentioned it already, but Gabriel Jesus right across the 6, no one's there. Saka right across the 6, no one. It's infuriating when that happens because it's like, listen, I need you to bust your ass to get into that box. And if you're not going to do it, we need to get somebody who can, because those were good opportunities. If you just have anybody running, shit, Solanke is busted a gut to get there. Listen, there's going to be some conversations about our attack, and we have plenty of time to talk about it. We're going to be talking about transfers and things like that. So we'll get into it. And definitely on the post-match show, my friend Gabriel is going to come on and chit chat with me. If you guys are patrons, you'll get access to that. But we got some conversations to have, and that's on period. But we had opportunities. We did have opportunities, and we did not take them. And that's very frustrating. John P., thank you so much for your super chat, says, I thought our subs worked well. Klopp subs and moving Salah from Zinni into Gabriel's pocket cost them the win. Klopp also injured his own player. That was freaking hilarious. I cannot wait to get that that meme or whatever. I hope somebody made it, did something creative with it, because it was super funny. But listen, everybody was screaming for subs. I was apprehensive about taking Martinelli off at halftime. We were speaking about it on the watch along. But about once the 60th minute came around, it was very clear that Martinelli needed to come off. I mean, he had 3 opportunities in a very short period of time where he didn't do it, And so for me, I think Trossard did good when he came on. He wasn't the same type of attacker, but he was able to give us numbers in midfield and kind of chef it up a little bit, be a little bit creative. In the middle of the park. And I'll give Nketiah a lot of credit, because Nketiah is not my favorite. You guys know that, but he got in there and really got stuck in. He was trying to win the second balls. He was making the tackles. He made a really good tackle on Salah, not the one up the pitch, but back towards our box. Did a really good job. And that's what you need from your subs. I don't think we had the game changers that we probably really wanted to have, but I thought they did enough to keep us fresh and going for the last 15, 20 minutes. So well done, Trossard. Well done, Nketiah, because we did feel that difference. I agree with you. And I do think Arteta's subs worked, and Klopp's were okay, but didn't really do anything. Did Nunez do anything? Did Gravenberch do anything? Not really. So yeah, John P., I do agree with you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Winning Ways says, Zinni ain't as good as we think. He's a B-Tech Cancelo. We all know who would have been a better signing for us. If you're talking about Lisandro Martinez, I mean, I don't know who would have been a better signing for us instead of Zinchenko. Listen, I think Zinchenko did a lot of good things going forward in that game, but he did a lot of fucked up things too. He was running into people. He was taking too long on the ball. He was creating havoc where he didn't need to. And so we know what, I don't think we need to go back in time. We know what should have. Tomiyasu and Timber should be in this team. We're unlucky that they're not here. So for me, it's beating a dead horse. I'm frustrated with Zinchenko, but I almost expect this. After this is a year and a half of the same player, we know what his strengths and his weaknesses are. We know that in a typical game away from home against the Big Six, he would not have played. If Timber and Tomiyasu were there, he would not have played. So for me, it's a little bit like beating a dead horse, a little bit once those players are back, even maybe in January, we might buy somebody. He won't be in the team. And it's because of the things that happened today. He switches off defensively, and that's how they got their goal. And there were just times in the midfield where he just did too many things. Instead of just being clean on the ball and popping it around quickly. He was trying to do something fancy, and we didn't need that shit today. So I agree that, Zinchenko does things that really can hurt us, but I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point. Like, Arsenal bought a player that was going to take his position, had already taken it, and then the next guy up got injured again. So what else can we say about Zinchenko at this stage? It feels a little bit like we're just continuing, the same conversation. Don Arsenal TV says, Jess, I told you about Martinelli last week, but you kept defending him in no product. I mean, I said that he needs to do better for sure. I think some people thought that I was being harsh on Martinelli. I think I've been pretty fair on him, that when he gets into the box, he needs to make better decisions. And he didn't make them today. I still think he'll come good. I think there's a lot of I told you so's right now. It's a little, I think that there'll be a time in the season where he comes back. And right now he's in poor form. There was a time where people were telling me Odegaard needed to kick rocks, because he was poor for a couple of games. Martinelli, I back him. I'm not going to flip-flop on him after, he's going through a difficult time. Maybe he needs to sit for a little bit. Maybe Trossard needs to come into the team, and that'll give him a kick up the ass. But until he picks up his head and makes decisions quickly and does the first thing that comes to his head and doesn't overthink it, he's going to have games like today. This is a continuation of what we've kind of seen this season, where he just doesn't seem to make the decisions quick enough. His decision making is not good enough. So I agree that he wasn't great today, but do I back him to come back into form and do the business? Absolutely, because it wasn't too long ago where people were saying Martinelli was better than Saka, and he was the only player in the run-in that looked like he was dangerous and really wanted to win the title. So I'm not going to forget about that because he's had a poor part of the season. I just think to me, it's disingenuous. I think Martinelli's great, but he needs to refine his game, and this rawness to his game that was kind of like, okay, a year or two ago, it's coming back and he needs to sharpen up. But I hear what you guys are saying. Like, some people don't believe in Martinelli as much as I do. And I'm not even a big Martinelli person. Like, I love Martinelli, but he's not like one of the people I'm going to defend to the death, but I back him to come back into form at some point. But the sooner, the better, because right now, today's performance was Hall of Shame. It was really bad, African Soldier, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. This is a very generous donation. I really appreciate it. And you guys, more coffee and hot chocolate for me. Okay. Happy holidays, Jess. Happy holidays to you as well. Shout out to Arteta for making this team solid. In years past, we would have folded under the pressure. And yeah, I don't think we folded under the pressure at all today. I agree with you. I think we stood up and we could have been better in some places, but ultimately teams of the past would have folded and conceded 3 or 4. We know that, so it's nice to have went to Anfield twice in a row and gotten something. And they're better this season than they were last season. So we're still able to get something. And I think our performance this time was better than the one last season. It was a more complete performance. So yeah, I agree with you. We didn't fold. And if you can't win, don't lose. It's so important that when you go to the teams that you're fighting against for the title, or, or in the race with you or whatever, that you get something at their place and you beat them at home. And so I'm pretty sure we'll beat them at home. So I love it. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Astra Dooley says, so disappointed in Zinchenko. I was his biggest fan last season. Yeah. Zinchenko is somebody that I do rate. I kind of know who he is and I accept him for what he is, but I also did feel like bringing in Timber was the right thing, and playing Tomiyasu in games like this was the right thing, but we just don't have those options. So what can you really do at this stage? Vitashi says, Zinchenko, it is what it is. Without Tommy, 1 goal from the left side is a let-off. Kasi says, Zinchenko was just Zinny and we all saw it coming. I agree. We all saw it coming. And that doesn't mean that we don't need to rectify that or he can't do better himself. But Zinchenko's 27 years old now, I think, so he's either 26 or 27. I may be aging him a little bit, but he ain't no spring chicken. So at this stage, if we're 2 seasons in with you and you still kind of do the same things, I'm just going to assume that that's who you are. And so you're the type of player that when we're fighting for top 4 and we're getting into the title race conversations, you can be our starting left back. But if we really want to win things, he can't be. I've accepted that. I think in the lower level games against the Burnleys and all these types of Brightons, whatever, he's fine. But those top 5% games, he can't be our left back. But what can you do when Timber got the ACL and Tomiyasu's made of breadsticks? What can you do? So I don't know what to tell you guys. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't. Aman says, as soon as he let Salah cut in, I knew it was wraps. Yuna said slip field. Okay. Winning Way says the short passes against good teams with Zinchenko and Ben White will cost us. Big GZ says, don't go hard. Don't go hard, Jess. That pitch was overwatered. Listen, why were we slipping so much? Somebody needs to explain that to me. Saka, Declan, everybody was slipping. They did something. The conspiracy, I'm waiting for it to be unveiled. Winning Way says, if we get a good left back, I would sell Zinchenko in the summer, along with Tomiyasu. This guy only played 10 games a season. It's harsh, but I think some people will be looking to maybe move Zinchenko on in their own minds in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised by that, because I do think that people are just very cold on Zinchenko right now for multiple reasons, some off the pitch, some on the pitch. But, the game is the game. We need to get better. And so I don't necessarily feel like you need to sell Zinchenko. I think if you have, Tomiyasu and Timber in the team, maybe you bring in somebody else as well. I don't know. It depends on what happens with Kivior from now to the end of the season, because if he's not trusted by Arteta at all, because Kivior wasn't trusted to play in this game and we needed a more defensive option and he wasn't the option. So I think that says a lot about Kivior as well. Like, if Kivior is not getting any playing time from now to the end of the season, I'd actually prefer to still keep Zinchenko, because he still does quite a bit in games that are like not like this. He's very good, so for me, he's actually more valuable to me than Kivior, so I'd actually probably want Kivior to go on alone and for us to keep Zinchenko, but that's just me. Those are conversations for like another day, those are conversations for another day. But yeah, you guys, let's get into the player ratings now. There's 400 of you guys in here. I love that. That is so nice, you guys. I really appreciate it. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I feel like, I don't know, I just love you guys so much. You guys make this so much fun. Let's go ahead and get into the player ratings, though, because we've already been talking for almost 40 minutes and we need to go ahead and get this done. I need to eat and start my Christmas, okay? Because we're top of the table. Let's go. Okay, so, oh, this isn't right. There we go. Listen, you didn't kill us and you didn't do the thing that I thought you were going to do, which is the flailing thing. But I want to ask you guys, you think that he should have saved that goal? Because in the watch along, like, not a lot of people, but some, like, we were split. Some people were, he should have saved it, and then some people were like, how could you ask him to save like a really good shot like that from Salah? And I think where I really land with this one is, where I land with this goal is that, or with Raya right now, is that he didn't really cost us today. I think the main culprit in the Salah goal is Zinchenko. Does a better goalkeeper get to that? Maybe. Can you say that he absolutely should be saving it? I don't think so. But there still hasn't been a game where he saved us. There still hasn't been a game where he was the deciding factor. Like, we could say, like, oh my God, that was fantastic from Raya. And so maybe he's just not that goalkeeper. I don't really remember him at Brentford being the type of goalkeeper that saved them in games. I know that a lot of what everybody spoke about when it came to David Raya was what he did on the ball. And so maybe we're asking for something that's never going to come. But, does Alisson save that? Maybe, but Alisson is the top 1% of goalkeeper. So I don't necessarily think that he had to save that one. I think what Gunners want is for him to do a spectacular save, like to save us a goal. And he hasn't, even though defensively and everything, we've gotten better since he's been in goal. He hasn't been the deciding factor. And so we're asking for him to do things, superhero things, because we want to see it, So that's kind of how I look at it. But I don't think he did much wrong today. I don't think he didn't do the thing. You guys know all up to the lead up. I was like, listen, David, do not throw this game away for us. Like, no silly shit. You need to claim your crosses and all that. I thought he claimed crosses really well. He never really looked jittery or anything like that. And really, they didn't, beyond they had a couple little chances, little long range shots, whatever. They had the one really good chance that they should have scored, which is the 5v1, and then the Salah chance that was like point blank, right? But other than that, like, he really wasn't on the ropes that much or anything like that. So he claimed his crosses, whatever. I'm gonna give him like a 6.5. Like, I really don't think that. I don't know. You guys, some people will say like he should get a lot lower, but I just think like it wasn't like a goalkeeper game today. I think the main story of today is Zinchenko got exposed again, and we didn't finish our chances, or we weren't clinical, or we did not take advantage of the opportunities that we have, which is a growing thing. So yeah, because I remember people were trying to say Raya should have did better on the Villa goal too, and I think what it is that anytime Raya concedes a goal now, he should have saved it, and I just am kind of like, I don't know, but I want to see what I do want to see is the data behind, like, because at one point with Ramsdale, it was like we conceded 7 goals off of 9 shots on target, which says to me that you're not saving anything. Everything that's on target is a goal. And so I am wondering if that data is similar for David Raya. Like, almost every single shot is going in, because if that's the case, then but his numbers for saving goals is typically always higher than Ramsdale's. So we'll see. That's a long way around of saying I would love to see the data, because if he's not overperforming or saving us goals, but I still think that the reason why Raya's in goal is because of his playing out from the back. Today we didn't see a lot of it, but if I'm really honest with you, I did not want to see Raya tipping around with the ball back there. I was like, kick it, send it, get it off your toe. So that's just me. Seawalder says 7, solid, calm, even the stadium, given the stadium and personal spotlight. Leon says Rice equals Dunda. Psalm 51 says 7 for Raya, clean game. Aman says 7 for Raya. Umar says a draw at Anfield is always good. Nathaniel says Raya 6. Yeah, somewhere between 6 and 7. Chola says guys, Raya saved Gomez shot on target. He did. Anytime he does save something, people act like he doesn't save anything. But I know where we are with Raya. And so I accept that unless he becomes Alisson from now until the end of the season, people are going to want him gone in the summer. And it is what it is, Here to There says Raya 6. I think that's fair. John Donut says 6.5. I agree. I think it's just about there. The Arsenal Perspective says 6.5. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. I don't want to see no low scores here. Get them up, get them up, get them up. Up, 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 up. This man was amazing today. I cannot describe to you how good he was. Like, he was so good. The amount of times that he was like, the thing about Saliba is like, he makes everything look so easy. He just brings the ball down. He just jukes past you a little juke. I wish our attackers were as confident as Saliba and Gabriel and Rice. We need that energy up front. We didn't have that energy up front, but we had it at the back. Okay, we had that energy. I thought he was fantastic. I did. I thought he was really, really good. His performance will go under the radar. I think our whole defense's performance will go under the radar. I'm sure the main talking point will be, did they get robbed off of the handball of Odegaard? Why didn't they score the 5v1? Like, that will be the conversation amongst the people. But you got to give credit where credit is due. And my goodness, Saliba, amazing. Once again, I'm giving him. Let me see what y'all gave him first. I'm going to check y'all homework first. Let me look at your guys' homework first. Okay. Yeah, I'm going big. I'm going big because, again, a point at Anfield is like 3 points against Brentford or Brighton for me. Because you had to do a lot to keep them quiet. Liverpool score lots of goals. They're a good team, so he kept them very quiet. I'm trying to figure out all the chances that they had. They didn't have that many. And that's saying a lot for being away from home at Anfield. Actually, let me look. Oh, let me see something real quick. Arteta on the game. I'm just making sure nothing has come out. Arteta on the game. It was an unbelievable game of football, one of the most intense I have witnessed in the game in 20 years. To see our boys to have the courage and belief to play like we had done here, I think our players deserve big, big credit. I agree with that. I just want to look at the XG because I'm sure they'll have more. But you guys want to know what the XG was? Liverpool 0.98, Arsenal 0.90. They didn't create shit. That's because Saliba and them were on point. So yeah, love it. Let's get those scores up, okay? Because Saliba is that guy. He was so good today. Winning Way says Saliba is the best center back in the world. Give him an 11. Jordan says 8. Chola says 10 for Saliba. So cool. He just floats. This guy. Dale says 10. Does any other right center back cover all the way to left sideline? Listen, the performance will go under the radar because defensive performances never get as much light as they deserve, but he was fantastic. Here to there says Saliba 9, Gabriel 9.5 for the goal. Nathaniel Danzo says Saliba 9.5. Psalm says Saliba 8. Winning Way says 11 out of 10. Arsenal Perspective says Rolls Royce Phantom 9. Tony says world class. Nocturnal says I saw the numbers. Saliba won 100 aerial duels today and Gabriel 100% ground duels, and that's on period. I will never say a bad word about Don Raul because the Don brought us this guy. He brought us this guy. Listen, this all the scandal that he was on. Listen, at least he brought us Saliba. Okay, let's talk about Gabriel too because listen, the goal scored and he was very good defensively as well. Let's not underplay Gabriel. He never gets as much credit as he deserves, And sometimes I do this as well. It's like Saliba's so young. He's the young, shiny, slick one, whatever. But Gabriel, without him, we're not the same team. The two of them are so good together. But Gabriel today, he did so much covering. He won his duels. He won his headers. He was calm. Like what I loved about them that I wish some of our other players would have had was that calmness on the ball. Like they didn't feel rushed or nervous or jittery or rattled at all. And what we've always said about Gabriel is if we could cut out that moment of madness and that little bit of like switching off, he'd be world class. And he's done that. So why he's not getting the praise that he deserves, I don't know. But I'm giving him a 9.5 because listen, he scored the goal and we've been needing that Gabriel goal. It's a shame that it didn't come in a win, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. Nocturnal says I'll stop yelling now, but I said what I said. Winning Way says Gabby 10. Chris says Gabriel 9. The Arsenal Perspective says Magalhaes ain't no pensioner, Jess. Is not a pensioner. I know he's not a pensioner. Winning Way says I'm looking at Real Madrid center back and they're old. After Mbappe comes, the next target for Real is Saliba. Mark my words. Yeah, they'll come at some point, but I don't want to hear about that right now. Nathaniel says Gabriel 9.99, and make sure you guys are voting on your man of the match. I only gave you 4 choices. I gave you 4 choices, and it was Saliba, Gabriel, Declan Rice. And then the 4th choice is Gabriel, Saliba, and Rice. So those are the only choices y'all got because those are the only ones that deserve to be on that, Nocturnal says Gabriel on Salah won everything. Exactly. Like he was so good. He was so good today. Let's give him the praise that he deserves because he doesn't get enough of it. Yeah. Ben White, he got cooked a couple of times, but I thought for the most part he was okay. He was aggressive and winning the ball like jumping in front and stuff like that. I thought he was good at that. But when Tsimikas or whatever his name went past him, the soul almost left my body because I was like, Ben, that's not even one of the better wingers. Oh my God. But I thought he was okay today. I actually don't think anything really came off of that side. That side was locked down. It was the left-hand side that they just kept kicking into the channel. And so I thought Ben was okay. still not quite up to the level that I feel like we need from Ben. But this may be harsh. I'm going to give him. No, I'm going to give him I'm going between a 6.5 and a 7. I know some people. I already know people are going to be like 5, but okay. So yeah, you guys, yeah, 7. Let's go. Yeah, I think about a 7 is probably fair. Here to there says Ben solid 7. John Donut says Benny Blanco 6.5. I agree with that. Arsenal perspective says White 6.5. John P says Ben White was fine 6.5, 7. Joshua says Ben White 7. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Chris says Ben White 5.5. Oh, that's a little bit lower. That's fine. Winning Way says Ben White is getting worse. He's also carrying an injury. You guys, Ben White is carrying an injury. He's carrying an injury. He's carrying a knock. The only reason why he's playing is because Tomiyasu is not fit and Timber has the ACL. So we also have to take that in consideration that we have a player that's playing right now that should not be playing because he has a knock. So I have to take that in consideration. Just like when everybody was telling me that Odegaard needed to kick rocks, he couldn't even move his hips. He had a broken hip, so take that into consideration. I don't think Ben White is getting worse. He's not fit. He's not fit. He went to Anfield and at least, he was not the odd man out. Benny Blanco deserves like a 6.5, 7, I think, in this game, all things considered. Leon Davis says Benny Blanco 7. I agree. So let's keep moving. Let's keep it moving. All right. This is not going to be fun, is it? Beyond you being super culpable for the goal, why are you trying to do a pirouette when you like the last man? Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to do skills under pressure? Why are you running into everybody and trying to take the ball off of everybody's toes? Why are you getting in the way? Why? And why are you taking bummy shots from outside of the box? What's going on? Oh my goodness. There were so many things beyond the goal. I just felt like he was incredibly sloppy, where he didn't need to be. Zinny, buddy. I don't know. It could go lower. It really could. It could go lower. He almost gave me a headache. Nocturnal says 4 or 2. Exactly. It could be lower. A 4 is when I'm considering everything. The fact that you put in Martinelli a couple times and Martinelli bottled the chances. But other than that, it was not a good day. It was not a good day. Boy says 5. Hitter there says Zinny 4. Worst player on the pitch. Woo-wee! Social Join says, you said it there. Zinny is getting in the way. He's a liability. He needs to be a sub. Kahinde says he was fine overall. It was like, I can always see the things that Zinchenko does because I don't know, because I'm just like a really good analyst. I don't know. No, I'm just joking. But I consider everything. And there were some good passes in there that will go underrated because of, like, I've seen people say that Zinchenko just does a lot of things and doesn't do anything. He's mastered the art of doing nothing and like doing a lot, but like doing nothing at the same time. And I do think that's incredibly disingenuous. But when you get on the ball, like take the Salah thing out. When you get on the ball and you're standing there and you try to do a fucking pirouette or some shit or a Cruyff or whatever in the middle of the pitch when it's unnecessary, I cannot back you then. Because the whole thing is high risk, high reward. And the reward is when you get on the ball, I need you to get it, pop it. I don't need you trying to do no Cruyff move around Salah. Why are you doing that for? That is so unnecessary. Why are you running into Odegaard? Let Odegaard get the ball. Why are you running into Rice? Why? So I don't know if he was just wants to be the man so bad that like he gets involved in things he doesn't need to get involved in. But there were just too many times where on the ball he was sloppy. And so as much as I can accept that he's just not a defender, I cannot accept you being sloppy on the ball because that's what you're good at. That's the reward. I did not get my reward. So yeah, fuck. He was bad today. It is what it is. Blaze says The reason Zinchenko plays is because Timber and Tomiyasu are injured. I think we need to buy another defender in January. I do too. Winning Ways says Tierney should have never gone on loan this season. Tierney wasn't saving us. I need to be so honest with you guys. Every single time I hear about Tierney, I'm like, first of all, his ass would be on the medical table. Let's be all the way for real. Almost the entire time he's been at Sociedad, he's been injured. So what is Tierney going to do for us on the medical table? But beyond that, I've seen Tierney. The thing about Tierney is like you guys are some revisionist historians. I've seen Tierney get cooked by some of the better wingers as well, multiple times in big games. So Mahrez has cooked him. Salah's cooked him. I've seen it. Y'all seen it. I know you did. Tierney, his best attribute was running and getting crosses in. He was a B- defender at best. Let's be all the way for real. He can play as a center back in a 3, but that's because you have more cover because you have a wing back and a center back near you. But as a left back, defending, Tierney was an attacking fullback if I've ever seen one. So let's not sit here and pretend like Tierney was going to save us defensively. Tomiyasu is the defensive left back that we needed, not Tierney. Tierney wasn't doing shit for us. He got cooked just like everybody else. And even if he wasn't getting cooked, he was going to be on ice. On the medical table. The revisionism on Tierney, I love him, but we went way beyond Tierney. We are well beyond Tierney. He had no suitors in the summer, y'all. None. What does that say? Y'all would have thought if he was so good, he would have got at least a move to the Premier League. Nobody would touch him. Nobody would touch him. So I love Tierney, but we're beyond that. We are beyond that. We're in buy another left back territory, trust Kivior territory, or hope that Tomiyasu's legs don't fail him for the rest of the season territory. We are not in revising Tierney territory. I'm not allowing it. But Zinchenko, you were shit today. And that's on period. Next. All right. So let's go for none of y'all played. Okay. Odegaard. I thought he was good today. I thought he got stuck in. I thought he did a lot of the build-up-y stuff. Maybe people will want him to do a little bit more in the final third. I can see that as well. But I thought for the most part, in terms of not getting ran over in the midfield, we did not get ran over in the midfield. We were very evenly matched in the midfield. He won some of his duels, won his battles, kept the ball, kept it ticking, did a lot of good things in build-up. I thought he was good. The best performance? No. You know what Odegaard is when he's doing his best performances, but we also have to take into consideration who we were playing. And, when you're an evenly matched kind of duel, you're not always going to be running over them like he was against Brighton. You know what I mean? So I'll take that in consideration, but he definitely did not get bullied. I'll say that for sure. Maybe got away with the handball, but it's about time we got away with something. Okay. So everything evens out. Everything evens out at the end of the season. That's what they tell me. Every time Arsenal fans are complaining about something, they're like, it evens itself out. It's no conspiracy. So it's just evening itself out. So listen, I'm going to give him a 7. Kind of around the Ben White-ish type of area. Not the best. As we go further up, the scores are going to probably get worse, but I thought he was fine. I thought it was good. The attack needs, that's what I'll say. Let's see. Arsenal perspective says Martin didn't embarrass himself tonight. He was good. I like that. Chosen One says 8 for Odegaard for sure. By the way, looking at the stats, the game was so close. Very solid performance at Anfield. It was very close. John P says Odegaard was the best player apart from the big 3 at the back. He got stuck in. You did. He got stuck in. And I love when Odegaard does that because, again, he's not a dual monster. I don't expect him to do Declan Rice things. I will never expect that for him. Sometimes you have to accept the player for who he is. He's never going to become that guy. But I don't want to see him ducking challenges or getting rolled off the ball all the time. He definitely didn't do that. He did a lot of good work in there, and some of the game today was about the hard work, and he did that. So I respect that performance from him. And like Arsenal Perspective said, he didn't embarrass himself. And that's the very important right now. It is. Chola says 7 for Odegaard. Clement says Odegaard 7. Winning Way says Odegaard needs to do more of these games for me, to do more in these games for me. I can see that. Ify says Odegaard had a very good game. I just felt the issue was with our front 3. Personally, I think that, yeah, when you look at the chance that we were never going to score 4 or 5 goals against Liverpool. I need everybody to be all the way freaking for real. We're not going to Anfield and scoring 3 or 4 goals. We're not. 2 max, And I think we're having a very different conversation if Martinelli scores that second goal. That wide open goal. I think a lot of it's results-based analysis. You get a draw. It's hard to see the individual performances for what they are. I don't think Martin Odegaard just didn't do enough. I think we got the amount of chances that you're going to get against a very good side, and we were really poor in the final third. Again, Jesus and Saka put the ball on a plate on the 6, and no one was there. No one was there. No one was there. And Martinelli had a wide open goal, and he has to put that away. So, yeah, Odegaard maybe could do more. I can accept that. But I don't think that – I think if Martinelli scores that goal, we're not saying Odegaard should have done more, That's my feeling. C. Walder says 7. Winning Ways says Havertz 7, Odegaard 6.5. C. Walder says a big gap between the floor and the ceiling of his performance. Some really good, some really bad moments, but good, but overall good. I can see that as well. John P says, did Odegaard get the assist? Yeah, I think he did. Winning Ways says, is the beginning of the end for Jesus. I can't see him here by 2026, not unless we move him to the wing. Here to There says, no way was Havertz better than Odegaard. Today showed why we need Fofana. I don't know, you guys. I feel differently, I think, about the midfield performance. I think, we'll talk about Havertz now. I think the problem that we had with Havertz today is he just didn't really get going into the second half. I thought in the second half he was much better than the first. He'll be out in the next game, which is unfortunate because I think he's been playing well. But, I think in a game like today, obviously the choice would have maybe been Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, maybe. But I do think Havertz had I don't think he was bad, but I don't think this was one of his better games, if that makes sense. So Odegaard was better than him, but I think the overall midfield performance was not bad. The sum of its parts, Rice, Odegaard, Havertz, held their own in a game where I think it could have easily got away with us if we weren't winning our duels. If Havertz wasn't nicking the ball away from Szoboszlai and Endo, if Odegaard wasn't making tackles, if Declan wasn't on it, we could have easily gotten ran over. So the sum of the midfield I thought was good, but I do think when we talk about individual performances, Rice was the best, Odegaard was next, Havertz wasn't as good, but I thought in the second half Havertz got a lot better. Especially once we made those subs, I thought he got a lot better. What pissed me off about Havertz, the only thing where I really was like, listen, pay attention, is that when he thought he should have gotten a penalty, I think his brain went away from the game, and him and Trossard were fucking around with the ball inside the box. And that was a good opportunity for us to score. And when it bounced out to Havertz, he took this wild, silly shot that hit off of the side of his foot, and he should be getting that on target because you're right in front of the goal. But I think he was so oh my God, we should have got a penalty, that he didn't concentrate. And so that was really the only time where I was frustrated with Havertz. I thought he had some not so great moments. I thought he had some good moments. I thought he was just kind of like an average performance. I don't know if it's this is why we need Fofana. I just think Havertz could have had a better performance. So I'll give him that's low. I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was all right. It was an averagey performance from him. But yeah, he was cool. Havertz, Arsenal Perspective says, yeah, that left foot effort was so bad from Kai, at least hit the target. That's kind of where I was at, John P says, I've seen those pens given, and that's a completely different conversation. But I think because of Odegaard's handball, they were never going to give us that penalty. Do you know what I mean? It was like when they gave Salah that yellow for fouling Eddie, which was a yellow, because Klopp and the rest of their team bitched so much. The next time that Eddie made a foul, they gave him the yellow. So it's tit for tat. It's evening things out. You know what I mean? And so Havertz was never getting that penalty unless somebody clocked somebody in the box. We were never going to get that, But I do think he needs to still be locked in because they're going to check that in the background. Wait till the ball goes out of play. That shot was just nah. What is the shot? It's so bad. Martin N says, Kai was okay, not bad, just okay. I agree. Tawana says, no, I think Guy does dirty work, same as Rice. He does do the dirty work. Again, the sum of our midfield is really good. Some people had better performances than others. It happens. I think there's been games where Kai was better than Odegaard. Shit happens. The only thing I will say is that nobody's really ever been better than Rice. So there you go. Arsenal Perspective says, smash the likes, people. Let's get it to 300. I agree with Arsenal Perspective. Get the likes up. There's 300 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys are doing all the things, liking, subscribing, all that kind of stuff, and make sure you guys are voting for your man of the match. I'm going to check the poll now, and it's 39% Saliba. Y'all, y'all wrong for that. I think it's Gabriel, but listen, I gave you guys a choice. I should have put them all Gabriel. I should have put them all Gabriel, but c'est la vie. All right, so we're getting further up the pitch, so the scores are probably going to get lower. Let's talk about Jesus, somebody who I don't think had a poor game, but I don't think you had a shot on target, bro. I don't think you even had a shot. He had one early that was deflected. He created a chance, but I thought, again, it was another game where our center forward really didn't shine. He didn't really put Van Dijk and Konate under enough pressure. I thought they had a more or less easy game against us in that respect. And so we know the deal. Gabriel Jesus, like Zinchenko for me, are going to be more than good enough for 95% of the games this season. 95. But the 5% where we really need our performance to be like A1 and the margins are incredibly fine, they're always going to leave us wanting. And that's tough to say because I do think that they're two of the players that have helped us get to this place, but they're almost like we're victims of our success, where we got good so fast that we started to see what we could have upgraded upon. And Jesus was probably somebody that we figured 2 or 3 years, as our main guy, but probably going to be 2, like it's very obvious at this point. It's really difficult for me to be upset about a player that we know what the deal is. He's going to give us the hard work. He's going to keep the ball. He's going to do a lot of good things. But when your forward gets no shots on goal, your striker gets no shots on goal in a game, you kind of know what the deal is, and most games against the better sides, especially away from home, he doesn't really do the business. Against Villa, didn't do anything really in attacking wise. Against Liverpool, most times against Man City, he does a lot of hard work, and that's cool, but we know what it is. Arsenal also know what it is. We need a striker. And we're going to get one. So I don't think he was poor. I'm going to give him, he's another one, 6.5, 7. I thought he did a lot more than the other player that we're going to have to talk about. But yeah, that's just where we are. We need a striker. We need one. I think he was good. He did the Jesus-y things. I can't be mad at him for doing something that I know he's not going to be able to do. Michael says Jesus was like a 6, 6.5. Graham says Jesus could have scored with the header before Gabriel bagged. I hear that. Kahinde says 5.5. Boy says 6 for Jesus. Winning Ways says Jesus reminds me of Laka a year before he left. I've said that before, that he's giving Lacazette vibes in some games where he's so focused on facilitating. It's almost like he's like a feeling sorry for himself thing. Like, I'm not a goal scorer, I'm a facilitator. But then when I get in front of the goal, I'm just going to completely shit the bed. You know what I mean? And so he is giving a little bit of Lacazette energy, even though I think he's much superior player to Lacazette. It does feel Lacazette-y. Social Join says Jesus did well, very well. The wingers were awful, so he couldn't exploit the gaps. I agree with that as well. I don't think Saka is as bad as people are making it out to seem. I think people are reaching. There's this thing with Saka where it's like people almost like want a gotcha moment. In terms of like getting us up the pitch, winning fouls, all that kind of stuff. He did a lot of that. He kept the ball where Martinelli lost it almost every single time he got it. Saka got us free and he created chances. So at least 2 chances. So let's be for real. Saka was not bad. It was not wingers. It was winger. So yeah, Hyphy says wasn't impressed with him. 6.5. Arsenal Perspective says Gabriel Jesus, I felt, had an opportunity to show his best parts of the game, which would have caused issues for the defense. In my opinion, he was a 6, slightly underwhelming. The Winning Way says Jesus and his starter wants a big boy striker. And that's kind of how I feel about Jesus and Zinchenko. I don't really feel like we need to like move them on or anything like that. I think the natural progression, like everybody bitches about not having depth. Oh, we don't have depth. Like as soon as we buy like Osimhen or whoever striker you freaking want, we don't need to get rid of Gabriel Jesus. We need him to stay. Again, Gabriel Jesus helps you win 95% of the games. Why would you get rid of a player like that? That's dumb. You know, I don't think Zinchenko or Gabriel Jesus need to go anywhere. I think they need to go to the bench. And then those other players are the ones that make us even better. But I feel like sometimes people go way too far and they get like really dramatic, like Broadway level dramatic. Jesus was, he does Jesus things, it just wasn't good enough for today. Boy says, nah, Saka needs to do better. He can do much more off the ball when we are in possession. He can do much more off the ball when we were in possession. I don't know. I didn't watch the same games as you. I don't think Saka was anywhere near as bad as people are making it out to seem. Some of this feels premeditated to me a little bit, or like Saka, he doesn't do well in the big game. Saka wasn't that bad to me. I don't think it was his best game, but I don't think he was. People were saying Nelson to come on, and I knew that then we were going into Delulu territory. Nelson to come on, be serious, So yeah, here's my thing on Saka. I think against the difficult teams, against the better sides, you are going to have to do a little bit more defensive work. You're going to have to get into the midfield. You're going to have to scrap a little bit. And I thought Saka scrapped. He did. He got the ball and kept it a lot, and he got us up the pitch. He passed it to other people. It's not his fault that when he passed it to other people, they fucked it up. He created a really good opportunity. Again, we're playing against Liverpool. We're not playing against Burnley, so we're playing against Liverpool. So the teams are better. They're better. He creates that chance. You're only going to get 1 or 2 chances. Saka's not going to create 5, 6 chances against Liverpool. He's going to create 1 or 2. And he created 1 and no one was home. And beyond that, I thought everything else that he did was very useful to us. I don't think people really get how many times he won the ball, kept the ball, got us up the pitch. He's so reliable in possession. Did he beat his man every single time? No. But guess what? When you're playing against better teams, you don't beat your man all the time. But the one time that he beat him, he put that ball right across the 6, and I cannot ignore the fact that nobody was there. So it wasn't his best game. I think he's about a 6.5, 7, somewhere around there, just like everybody else that played up top, to be honest with you. But I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I don't really think Saka was as bad as people are making out to seem. I just think, I don't know. I didn't see the same game. I thought Martinelli was really poor. I thought he was the one that was really like the main culprit, because every single time that we built up nicely and we switched it over to his side, he lost it every single time. Every time. That's not Saka. So I don't know where this wingers is coming from, Martinelli had the wide open goal, and Saka helped create that chance as well. It's not his fault that Martinelli was not good enough, So yeah, maybe Saka could do better in some circumstances. I feel very similarly to Saka and Odegaard, where I could see there was moments where they could have done better. Absolutely. Absolutely, they could have done better. But there are things in big games that you have to do. And getting yourself out of trouble, winning the duels, scrapping, those things come into consideration, because we are not going to just be sitting up at the halfway line, swooping it around nicely, playing our patterns. We're not going to be doing that. So we need other things. And like Odegaard and Saka did those other things, despite us maybe feeling like they could have just went up like another 2-3%. But to me, Saka was like a 7. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't terrible, but he definitely wasn't Martinelli. And I'm not going to stand for that shit. It was not wingers. It was winger. Here to there says Saka 6.5. I agree, like somewhere around there. The Arsenal perspective says Saka didn't impose himself enough, but he did put in a few crosses that the others really should have capitalized on. Fair performance, not his best 7 or even 7.5. Winning way says 7. Henry says 7. Clement says 7. John Donut says Saka 7. C. Walder says Saka 7.5 for me. So here's the thing. Here's the thing as well, is that we're learning something about this team that I think a lot of us felt like might be the case, but sometimes you need a little bit of like experimentation to learn. Last season, we had 3 or 4 players that really were on a hot streak scoring wise. Saka was doing it the business. Martinelli and Odegaard were doing the business. But the question was going into this season is, would they be able to replicate that level of clinicalness? I think we outperformed ourselves quite a bit last season. And so I came into the season kind of feeling like they probably wouldn't get the same amount of goals as they did. They probably wouldn't be as clinical because last season we were having like a magical season where like everything went in the back of the net. So what we're learning is that we probably won't end up being, it won't be Salah, Mane, Firmino. That's not who we're going to be. We're going to need to have to buy a striker. And that does not mean that Martinelli and Saka are not amazing players. It's just they're not going to be able to put up the necessary numbers to play with a false 9 like Jesus. They're not. And we're learning that. And I think the club also knows that, right? And so, yeah, like it's frustrating, but I really don't want to get into the rewriting history about who Saka and Martinelli are. They're fantastic young players that are doing a really good job right now. They're going, they have some inconsistencies. They could do better in some respects, but I think we have learned so far, we're in December, that no, they're not going to be Mane and Salah in terms of like being able to put in like that level of production. But when we get a striker and they get to provide for somebody else, I think they're going to be fine because they also can score goals, but Saka was fine to me. I really don't see this, he was wingers. Like, I don't see it. I think there was one main culprit. Oh, I forgot about you. Okay, so let's talk about him too. Really quick before we get into Martinelli, because I think that's a longer convo, if we're honest. So for me, he was really good today. And when is he not good? Let's be honest. He has not had a bad game for Arsenal. I think people, if we don't win, they're like, he wasn't that good. He was. He's been good every single game. And he's dragged us across the line a couple of times. And he always stands up to be counted. And as much as people want other players in the team or feel like he doesn't do something on the ball, fuck off. Like, he does what we need, which is off the ball. We need you winning that. We need you winning that. That's what we need. We could use maybe some different types of passing in some ways, but this is what gets you over the line. You have to be solid down the spine. You can't have people getting bypassed, like you can't. You need to have somebody that's going to anticipate, stop fires, put fires out, all that type of stuff. And he did that today. I thought he was fantastic. I think he was right up there with the main performers today. So I'm going to give him a 9. I thought he was fantastic. I really do. Here for the Rice. Fantastic. See, I'm going to give him a 9. We're going to go to Martinelli. I just almost forgot Rice. Kande says we need Partey, but Rice 7. I think he would be a boost, but yeah. Partey is we don't win that game with Partey as our 6. That's mainly the point. Or we don't get anything out of that game. That's what I'll say for sure. But he was great. F says Rice 8. He's what we missed at Anfield last season. Chola says Rice 9. And I think some people just kind of need to get over it. I know that people are holding firm with the whole we're not going to do anything in big games without so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Rice is what we've needed. And if you don't respect defensive solidity and being able to stop fires, then you don't actually understand what's going on, because everybody has said it that we've gotten better this season. Klopp has said it. The pundits have said it. Everyone has kind of said it. And it's true. We are better because we're not as susceptible on the transition. Last season, we were so susceptible because sorry, as good as Partey is on the ball, he's not as good as Rice defensively. So yeah, if you lose a couple of little, really nice flicky passes or whatever like that, fine. And he would be nice to have in the bigger games, but let's not act like we haven't been watching the DM that we've always needed in midfield. It's time to get over it. Like I really do think people are holding on tight. Keep holding, because Partey, when he comes back in January or whatever after January, I'm not going to bet our season on him being able to stay fit anyway. So Rice is the guy. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. John says, if we're better than last season, why didn't we win at Anfield? Because Liverpool are better this season than they were last season. That's the reason. Let's be honest. Liverpool were like what, 6th place team last season. Now they're fighting for the title. So I think that math is pretty like, 1 + 1 = 2. I don't know what to tell you. Winning way says a double pivot of Rice and Partey, we win that game. Maybe a double pivot, but not with Partey by himself. Chris says Jalaf with a solid 8.5. Ify says we need another midfielder like Rice. He has made us really much stronger. I do think we need another midfielder, but we need somebody that's also going to be there. And so I hope we go into the winter window and bring in somebody. I don't think we will, but if we do, that would be great, because we need somebody that's going to be there. Again, your best players are there for 99% of the season. That's the requirement, So there you go. But I really liked his performance today. F is saying that we were really very susceptible today. That 5v1 though. We really weren't though. They created the same amount of chances that we did. They created the same amount of XG. So they had one really good opportunity where they should have probably scored, but we were not very susceptible today. We limited them to basically nothing at home, beyond one really good chance that they had where Trent passed it into Salah and he did Zinchenko, and then they had the 5v1, but we were not very susceptible today. We were good. So yeah, I love it. I love it. So let's go. Let's talk about Martinelli, because he was really bad today. He's going through a really bad run of form. I will not deny that. I love Martinelli, and I do think that he'll get back into better form. But today, the amount of times that he just lost the ball, dribbled out of bounds, didn't make the decision, missed a wide open goal, wasn't in the box when he needed to be, the body language was not good. Everything was poor. I don't know what's going on with him, but I would say he probably is getting away with it, because if Havertz was not out for West Ham, I would say, you know what, even still, I'm really thinking that at home against West Ham, play Emil, Odegaard, and Rice, and take Martinelli off and play Trossard. Because last time he was going through a little run of form like this, he was dropped for like a game, and then he came back in and he was much better. I don't know if he needs a chip on his shoulder or what, but today stunk. It stunk. It was probably his worst performance as an Arsenal player, and I'm not even exaggerating. And I do think that a lot of people tried to blame it on Kai Havertz. Have some shame. It's not Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is not the reason why he's missing wide open goals and why he can't make decisions quickly. That's Martinelli, and he's had that problem for a long time. We thought he had nipped it in the bud last season, but those old bad habits are coming back. He's regressing back to the Martinelli that was like the young 19-year-old, where we were like, as soon as he gets his decision making right, he'll be a much better player. He was getting his decision making so well last season, which is why he had so many goals and so many assists. This season, my Lord, every time he gets it, it's like he's thinking too fucking much. Shoot or pass or cross. Like, shoot, pass, cross. Do something. But what I don't need you doing is losing the ball. Because what would happen, it's just like on the other side, when Saka would get the ball, it would be like a midfielder, their left back, the midfielder, and the forward were all converge in like a little triangle around Saka. But the difference between Saka and Martinelli is Saka knows what he's going to do before he gets it. He wiggles out of that pressure, or he makes the decision quickly to pass it off, right? What Martinelli did, I saw it so many times. It was like Endo, Trent, and Salah all did this, and he was still looking down. I need you to look up. I need you to know what you're going to do. And he just waited way too long on the ball so many times. There was 3 times in a row where he just couldn't beat the man, couldn't do shit. I mean, it was really bad today. And I hate going in on Martinelli because I really like him. But when people were saying it was Kai Havertz, I really thought they were just trying to figure out a way where it could be Kai's fault. It's not. We've seen this from Martinelli before. He's regressing back into old ways, and maybe he does need to sit for a game or so. I don't know. Not like a dropping. Like, I feel like that's harsh, but more of like let me just let your brain rest for a little bit. Maybe you just need a little break. I don't know. I feel like this is harsh on Martinelli, but he was really bad today. And there's no real way to get around it. I don't really know how else to get around it. I don't know. Maybe I'm still being like nice to him. I'm giving him 5. I don't know. It was really bad. It was like his worst performance in Arsenal shirt. And he's really the player that, we win that game if Martinelli's on form, I think. Because that chance that he had, I won't be able to forget it. You can't miss those. You have to put that in the back of the net. You're a most natural goal scorer. I could see maybe Odegaard missing that. I could bet on Jesus missing that shit. But not you. You're our most clinical forward. You're our most natural goal scorer. His confidence has to be on the ground. It really does. He's not having a great season, but I think he'll come back into form at some point. Maybe that'll come after maybe a game or two off. Maybe play Reece Nelson against West Ham. Maybe that's being a little bit too disrespectful to West Ham, but Martinelli dropped a real stinky performance today. And I don't think he can blame anybody but himself. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, it was just so bad, Chola says, why is Martinelli always looking down when he's on the ball and he's shooting? What's that all about? I don't know. But he needs to look up and know what he's going to do with it before, even if he has his head down, if he knows he's going to go to the byline and put in a cross, if he knows he's going to pass it back, like, he just needs to do it quick. I think he almost thinks he's too good sometimes. And so he fucks around with it. And when he's on form, he gets away with it. When he's out of form, it's like, I just need you to do the basics and keep it simple. And I think maybe one of the things that the coaches need to tell him is keep it simple. If you get the ball, pass it, 1-2 touch. If you think you want to go to the byline, take 1 touch, cross it, and I'm just not seeing that from him. I'm seeing a lot of like, should I not? And it's like, you should, just go do it. Because you can. He's so good. Like, he can do it. Like, that's the thing. I'm not going to rewrite history on Martinelli. I think he's fantastic, but he's going through a really bad run of form, and I think a lot of it is what's going on up here. I don't know what's happened to his confidence, but it's on the floor, and it needs to come up, because I'm thinking play somebody else, against West Ham at home and see what happens, because we have a very favorable run of fixtures coming up, and it would be nice to win them, kind of, not easily, but I feel like he's a little bit of an enemy of progress right now, and I hate talking about Martinelli like this. Winning Way says Gabby's going to end up running into the crowd or the M24 at this point. It's giving Rashford vibes. Yeah, I think this is a really important season for Martinelli as well, because, Saka took a step and he needs to take a step as well. We have this dynamic winger duo that we're kind of banking on being like a winger duo for a long period of time. But, if he's not showing the ability up here, footballing IQ, Arteta's not going to stand for it, and we'll be bringing in somebody. And I really would prefer us to spend money elsewhere. I want to bet on Martinelli getting it done, because I thought last season he really showed that he had more going up here. He wasn't just like a road runner, so I know he can do it, because we saw it last season. He's not doing it, and that's the problem, is we know he can do it. He's just not doing it. Ivy says, I really like Martinelli, but he's getting a 4 today. That wasn't good enough from him. Yeah, it wasn't. Winning Way says Jesus left wing and Trossard back in the 9. Blaze says, I think confidence issue with Martinelli are the reason why he's not performing very well. I agree. It has to be confidence. Boy says Martinelli was getting himself into positions today where it became apparent he needed to just make a decision because he was making none again and again. Crippled our attack at some moments. And that's period. That's true. Like, there were just times he was in such a good position and all he had to do was make a decision, whether that's shooting, like just like he made the decision to shoot right away against Man City. Sometimes you get a little bit of luck when you do that, but when you piss around and you kind of like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, or I try to do a move or something like that to try to show I'm good, like we just lost the momentum, and that's the thing is I know he can do it because he did it last season. That's why I'm not really buying into this idea that he doesn't have anything going on up here, because then last season would have been a mirage. I watched him last season make excellent decisions, be decisive, and really dangerous. And that's when Martinelli is at his best, and he's not doing it. And it's frustrating. Anthony says Martinelli was really bad, and he's one of my favorite players. He needs to sit out a while. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody else against West Ham, but I feel like, damn, we really need him though. Ivy says, I really like Martinelli, but he's getting a 4. Oh yeah, you already said that. Kahendo says, I think Arsenal will need another left back because Zinchenko fall to turn down Salah. We tried. That would probably be why we go into the January transfer window, because again, if Arteta doesn't trust Kivior to play in these games to be our more defensive option, we got problems, because you can't rely upon Tommy. If something happens to Ben White, we're fucked. Like, even if Tommy comes back and something happens to Ben White, Tommy goes over there and we're still playing with Zinchenko. So if you don't trust Kivior, and maybe they just have to decide that he's a center back and he cannot play that left back position, then Arsenal need to go out there and get somebody, because this is not gonna hold up. This is not gonna hold up. It's not. The way they were kicking it over there to Zinchenko's side, I was like, damn, how does that feel to be him, to know that they're just actively targeting you on like a regular basis? They weren't even trying to hit Ben White's side. They just kept ba, 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 ba on that side. And I was just like, that couldn't be me. That couldn't be me. Because I'd almost be in tears. I'd be like, I'm the one that they're targeting. Like, for real. Seawalder says he's been on form for ages, but his recent slump, I think he'll be back, but probably does need to sit down for it too. And that's the thing, is like, I think sometimes we forget that Martinelli was really on form for like a long period of time. And he, out of all players, like, he had a little slump around this time last season, but it only took like a game for him to come back. You know what I mean? And so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he will come back into form. I don't think we're in the territory of maybe we need to upgrade on him. We already know that that's like the Zinchenko and Jesus thing. But Martinelli, he's 22. He's going to go through these peaks and troughs, but he needs to do much better. And a lot of it is about him. I don't think it's the system. I don't think it's Kai. I don't think it's Arteta. I think it's him. I think it's him. So yeah. The Arsenal perspective says, remember, if Tomiyasu is coming back soon, he may be off to the Asia Cup. Exactly. So we need someone. F says, I don't trust Kivior at left back. That's for sure. Jordan says, I think Kivior is just a center back. He doesn't look comfortable at left back. He is good though. And that's the thing. If he's only going to be a left back or a left center back, then we need to bring somebody in, because if something happens to Ben, then Tomiyasu goes over there. And then you're also relying upon Tomiyasu. And what's the beginning of the season has showed is that he cannot be relied upon, as good as he is, So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. So yeah, on the subs, Clement has said it already, but listen, I'm the first one to talk about Eddie. I am. You guys know me. If I don't think Eddie is doing good, I'll talk about him. Even when he's doing all right, I'll talk about him. So he's not my favorite, but I'll be honest. I think that he gave us a little bit of a boost. He was tenacious. He was winning his duels. He was winning second balls. He did as much as he could while he was out there. And so I respect that from Eddie. Well done. Trossard also gave us a little bit of a boost. I thought they got us over the line in a very difficult period. So 7 and 7 for them. I agree with Clement. I thought when we needed subs to change the game, I thought they did enough, so good for them, but yeah, it wasn't bad, y'all. We're still top of the table. We can still say that December. I mean, shit. Who would have thunk it? Listen, when we started the season and we weren't looking good, or weren't looking like our old selves, especially like after Fulham, everybody was ready to throw in the towel, and now we have 40 points, so we're not getting relegated. So here, not getting relegated. Our goal difference is 20. The only team with a higher goal difference is Liverpool. Our goals against is 16. No one has less goals conceded than us. And our goals for 36. We're just around kind of like everybody else. I think the only team that's like way ahead of everybody else is City. And we have 2 losses, 4 draws, and 12 wins. So, and nobody has more wins than us either. So we're not in the worst position ever. I really wish I didn't see 2 losses there, because I think the 2 games that we lost should have been draws, but c'est la vie, so it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. So yeah, you guys, I think that we can take a lot of positive from this. I thought it was a very good performance, all things considered. Of course, we could do better, but we're never going to be perfect. We're going to talk about this a lot more. I told you guys that the next time you guys will see me is on Patreon on, I think, the day after Christmas, whatever day that is. I may put something out. I may not. It just depends, because your girl is going to be drinking and eating. So, like I may be here, I may not, but that's the next time after Christmas, the day after Christmas. And then you guys will be able to catch me tomorrow on the Arsenal Forever podcast. So if you guys are subscribed to AFTV, you guys will see me on there. I'll be waking up at midnight tonight to do that. So come out at 8 a.m. your guys' time, I think, if you guys are in the UK. So that should be fun. But I really enjoyed spending my entire day with you guys. You guys are amazing. The watch along was great. This player ratings was amazing. Again, enjoy your guys's, holidays, enjoy family. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, celebrate something else. Just, yeah, hopefully you guys are healthy, well, feeling good, all that kind of stuff. I wish you guys the very merriest of holidays. Drink, eat, all that kind of stuff. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.